In a world of cookie cutter condos here in the city of Toronto, there is one condo type that many buyers are attracted to, and that is the loft property. And we're going to continue our series here on the channel where we go through recent transactions and tell you why we liked it. My name is Tom Storey. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure to give this video a like, get subscribed to the channel. If you want to work with a team that has sold lots of lofts downtown, you can book a call with us in the first link in the description. Now, over the past 2 months, there's been over 200 lofts that have sold in the city of Toronto. That's a combination of soft lofts, and what that essentially means is the building was built to look like a loft, but it is still fairly new. Then you've got hard loft, where it was something else, usually a factory or something along those lines. It's been converted to loft living. Typically with hard lofts, you're not getting a ton of outdoor space or balconies because the buildings weren't meant to be living spaces until later in their life. And sometimes on the MLS too, people will call something a loft that just has 2 levels. In this video, I'm just focusing on the first 2. So what I did is I went through all those 200 sales and I picked out my favorite recent loft sales. I want to share them with you today and tell you why I like them. Now, I've gone through these one by one and picked them out based on different price points. So I did the entire city of Toronto and I did not put a price limit on this video. So we're starting from like roughly 600,000 going up closer to 2 million to give you kind of a full perspective. A lot of these properties did end up falling in the downtown core, but I did do the search for the entire city just because that's pretty much where they are located. All right, let's jump into it and let's take a look through it together. Now I'm going to do this based on price. So we're going to start lowest price and go to highest price. And I think I chose 7 properties for us to review through today. And I'll tell you why I like them. You can see down here, they're kind of spread out between, we got East End, kind of main downtown, and we got one on the West End as well. Let's start with our West End choice. Now, this was a recent sale that took place in 363 Sororan Avenue, also known as the Robert Watson Lofts. Now, this property here sold for $640,000. Maintenance was about $600 a month, so roughly about $1 per square foot for the maintenance. This property did not have parking, but let's take a look at the photos. So you get, this is a true hard loft, right? As I was mentioning at the beginning, just like totally different vibe. You get the high ceilings. You know, it's not for everybody. But if you don't want to live in cookie cutter condo central, then this might be something that you would look at. Obviously, there's been some renos here over the years. You know, views into the courtyard, nothing crazy there. But in terms of getting a true loft in a building that still has some pretty decent amenities, $640,000, I think that's a pretty nice buy. Now let's jump to number 2, and we're going to take you now to the East End. Now this is in the Wrigley Lofts, okay? So the Wrigley Lofts was converted in 1998, and this unit specifically was 970 square feet with a maintenance fee of only $565. That is really, really good maintenance for this much square footage. Now, this loft would fall into a certain category that is like the large 1 bedroom. It doesn't exist that often, and it does take usually a little bit longer to sell because the buyer profile is someone that has like kind of a 2 bedroom-ish budget, but is okay with like just a large 1 bedroom. So obviously like families typically don't buy these properties. This is younger couple, bachelor style situation. That's who usually buys these. Now, this sold for $712,000, 970 square feet, which is good price per square foot, good maintenance per square foot, and it had a parking spot. Let's take a look through the photos here. So again, you can see here with kind of the older windows, no balcony. You got rads because this is a true hard loft that was actually converted. They did a nice job with the staging on this property as well. Bit of an older kitchen here that you could update, but obviously very usable. And then we're going to go upstairs, and there is your bedroom. Now, with a lot of these properties that have the 2 levels, you know, obviously you can hear what people are talking about down here, right? So it's not going to be a perfect setup for everybody. But I think if this is a style of property that you're looking for, I just think like this has a ton of charm. So 1 bed, 1 bath, $712,000. 970 square feet and maintenance fees under $600 per month. That to me is a nice buy. Let's go to our next one on the list here for 19 Brant. This is a soft loft, the quad loft. And I feel like 19 Brant and 23 Brant, I've talked about them a little bit on this channel before, but they just don't get as much love as they should because they're kind of hidden behind. They're like across from where Jacob's Steakhouse used to be. It's moved now. But you kind of walk by and you don't really know that they're there. So this unit's over 800 square feet, sold for $770,000. This is a 1+ den with parking. Very similar to the last one where it's like large 1-bed or 1+ den in terms of the size that you usually find for a 2-bedroom condo. And it has a parking as well. Let's take a look through the photos. Again, nice job with how they presented this property. Actually, to me, this doesn't look like it's like staged. It looks like they used a mix of kind of the eclectic style of the owner with a bit of staging, if I had to guess. I love the close-up shots on that's always fun. Go through the photos here. Good walk-in closet. There's the den at the front when you walk in, which you could convert that, throw a Murphy bed in there. That becomes a second guest room if you really want it to be, or an office space as they are staging it for here. So this is a nice one. I think this sale is a good one. Maintenance fees only $566, and it's over 800 square feet. Very good maintenance per square foot. I think the purchase price is a good buy for whichever buyer bought this property. And Quad Lofts to me is just a building that it's a great soft loft in the King West area. You got 10-foot ceilings. You got the exposed ceiling as well, right? So some people like it, some people don't. But I like it, and that's why it's on my list. Now let's go back to the East End, 68 Broadview Avenue. I love this building. We have clients in this building right now. I may or may not actually have a listing coming in this building very soon, but I didn't represent anybody on this transaction. This is one that recently sold, almost 1,050 square feet, sold for $1,050,000. So basically right on $1,000 a square foot for the sale price. Maintenance fees are $886. It had a parking spot. And let's take a look at the photos. So this is the true, like, you know, brick and beam loft, right? I would live here if I didn't have kids and needed only 1 bedroom. You can see there's a trend going on here with these units where they're very large 1 bedrooms, which if you made a 1 bedroom this size in a typical kind of cookie cutter condo, it would be very difficult to sell. But the loft style large 1 bedrooms seem to always have a buyer, even in today's market conditions. And it makes sense to me. You got the nice outside space there. And obviously where it's located, you know, pretty much Leslieville, you can walk to everything, Broadview Hotel, all the great spots to go out for dinner. Really good location. And the building has amenities as well. All right, let's go to our final 3. I'm going to go now to King West again. This is a 60 bathroom sale. This is also a 1+ den with 2 bathrooms. And this I thought was one of the coolest renos for a space like this. Like they really upgrade a lot of things. Just going back here for a second, sale price over $1 million. But maintenance under $700 and over 1,000 square feet. Maintenance is pretty good for this as well, but same idea with the others. You got to be okay with the large 1 bedroom layout. So let's take a look through the photos here. You can tell they've done a really nice job with the renos in the powder room at the front. And then you got your laundry right here. Some people like that, some people won't. I think it looks pretty cool. I like how they made black the accent color. I think it looks really nice. Then you got huge living area. You got your kitchen there. Bedrooms at the back wrapped around. Little peek of the CN Tower. And then the primary bathroom was nicely renovated as well. This is one of those ones where they obviously renovated to live in, and then eventually their life changed and they sold it, where, you know, not every buyer is going to fall in love with your personal renovation. I personally like this. I think they did a nice job. And this building at 60 Bathurst has always been one that we've recommended to our clients based on location, based on the fact that maintenance fees are fairly reasonable as well. Okay, we got 2 left. I'm going to stick in King West for our second last option here at 62 Niagara. This is a building that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. Again, it's kind of one of those ones where it's not huge. Units don't come up for sale that often, and people just aren't aware of it, right? So this sold for just over $1.1 million. It was over 1,000 square feet. And maintenance fees were $725. So on trend with kind of what we've been seeing in this video. Maintenance is reasonable for the square footage, even compared to brand new condos where their maintenance fees per square foot are way higher than that. This is a 2-bed, 2-bath. And let's take a look at the photos. Do you walk in there? Nice kitchen. Again, you can see the trend with concrete ceiling. Complete opposite to the 60 Bathurst one that was kind of all black. This is all white. But location-wise, size, you got the outside space as well. Bathrooms are updated. Decent outside, actually bigger outside space than I was expecting. And you got some green space in front of you. I know it's their own plants, but nicer than just looking directly at another building. So here you go. 62 Niagara is my second last pick. And my final pick, I had to put it on there because properties don't sell that often at Candy Factory, but when they do, they're usually pretty nice. So this was over 1,400 square feet and maintenance was 922. Again, actual like per square foot maintenance, way better than a lot of newer condos. I wonder why that is. It's just, yeah, like per square foot, that's really good value. Again, this is a 1-bedroom that sold for almost $1.8 million. So it's a totally different buyer profile that would buy something like this that is this big. But let's take a look at the Candy Factory. Kind of one of the sexiest lofts in the city. I'd still put it probably number 1 on my list in terms of best lofts in the city of Toronto, at least like hard lofts that were converted. Yeah, like look at the vibe is just cool. I feel like they've done a really good job with it. It makes sense why it sold. All right, so we'll click through the rest of the photos here. There we go. But I'd love to get your input as well. Do you like loft living? Do you not like loft living? Would you ever consider buying a unit like this comparative to your kind of more standard floor plans? There is still, by the way, 2-bedroom lofts. But as you've seen the trend in this video, a lot of them are kind of like bigger spaced 1-bedrooms or 1+ dens. If you like this video and you want us to do more reviews of recent transactions that have taken place in the city of Toronto, let us know below what area you want us to cover, what property type. We're going to do our best to cover different areas of the city. I'm going to have other team members also join me in these videos to give their opinions on these properties as well. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Tom Storey, and remember, home is where your story begins.